Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is part two of the video highlight series of my interview with Heavenly Fan on her channel. In this episode, we talk about how keto has changed or evolved since I tried Atkins about 26 years ago. We also talk about keto products and whether they help or hinder our keto journey. Finally, we talk more about the holistic well-being of ourselves, including exercise, relaxation, and meditation. So let's pick it back up where we left off in the previous video.
There have been multiple instances where I've, tried different diets. I had done Atkins probably around the time I was 30. And our understanding of keto now and the support mechanisms for keto or a ketogenic lifestyle now are infinitely greater than they were 26 years ago. So, back then, yeah, there was not much in the way of any sort of a keto resource, keto cooking. It was basically I was making bacon cheeseburgers, no bun, a lot of mayonnaise, and felt very restricted in terms of what I could eat. Also, didn't have any understanding about electrolytes at that time, so energy levels were pretty weak. I don't know that I ever fully got fat adapted. So I would be out mowing the lawn, for example, and just exhausted. It's just a struggle, pushing the lawnmower. And I was losing weight, but the Atkins starts off seeming really cool because you're like, I can eat all the bacon I want. This is great. And then you hit a point where you're like, oh my God, I don't know that I can eat any more bacon right now. Which is what I love about keto because I don't like using the word diet. I choose either dietary lifestyle or way of eating. And I don't look at this as something that ends. To me, a diet is something you do for a short term. You lose the amount of weight you want, and then you go off the diet. To me, I look at keto as this is the way I eat. So I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about going off of it at some point and
Well,
dealing
that
with the slingshot or weight gain or whatever.
I totally agree. I think all methods of changes um, in terms of food works to some extent, but whether it actually works is how long can you do it for. I probably have tried everything under the sun, and I think I actually had a little bit of experience with Atkins as well, and I was vegetarian at that time. I wasn't vegan, so I was eating dairy. And you know what happened? I ate a lot of cheese to the point that I swear that was probably why I went vegan. I just couldn't eat any more dairy anymore. Any kind of diet, if you don't enjoy the food, there's no way you're going to stay on it. It doesn't matter how great it is. And that's why, diets like low fat, put aside the kind of body, physical impact that might have on your body. You just can't do that. Or calorie counting, you can do that for a while. You just can't do it for a long time, long term. So
Here's the thing. This is a quote from Dr. Eric Westman, who I adore. He said, there's no such thing as keto food. You're either keto is a metabolic state. You're either in ketosis or you're not. So choose your carbs. And for different people, it's going to be different quantities. So I may decide, listen, today my full carb allowance is going to be kombucha and everything else is going to be fat and protein. But it's the other term that Dr. Westman created that I love is internet keto, which is all these influencers that say, "Oh, this isn't keto, this is keto," and so on. If you go back to when the term the ketogenic diet was coined, now I admit that Dr. Russell Wilder didn't invent it. People were eating some form of low carb, before then. It's sort of like Christopher Columbus discovering the United States. He just put a name on it. But if you go back and you look at the original material from him from 1923, he didn't say you can't have this or you must have this. He said, here are the macronutrient breakdowns, and here are some things I recommend to get there. Certain things are going to be discluded simply because they're not going to fit within that macronutrient structure. But that doesn't mean like you can't, like, oh, I had a a gram of sugar. Who cares? It's a gram of sugar. How far down the ingredient list are we going to look for evil? There is an ingredient out there, every ingredient out there, every cooking method out there, the microwave, aluminum foil, plastic, whatever, it doesn't matter. Somebody has got a problem with it. And, you either just decide, hey, listen, the dose makes the poison. And I prefer, if I'm going to fear something, I would prefer to fear something that I know specifically affects my body or is, I think, a clear and present danger to my life. And I'm not going to get worked up about everything. I will avoid the highly processed seed oils just because they don't make me feel good. They make me hurt. Canola makes me hurt. Soybean oil makes me hurt. So that's why I avoid them. And I think
Yeah,
everybody needs to take ownership themselves. If you have an allergy, then you don't eat something. But there's only so much bandwidth I have for fear, and I'm not going to fear everything.
absolutely, because at the end, we're talking about sustainability. I mean, if you're just afraid of everything, and it's very easy to be scared by whatever you read on Google, and if you do that, before you know it, there's nothing you can possibly eat, and there's so many things to consider, like environment and everything. Everybody's trying to tell you don't eat this because it's bad for this and that. I think we can only do the best we can. Even being a vegan, there might be things that people go, well, you might not be consuming animal products, but indirectly, you probably harm a lot of creatures. And I totally agree. I have no debate on that. From the moment I get up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm sure I've harmed a lot of things, living things, not knowing. But this is the best I can do. So
Well, and Dr. Ken Berry, when he talks about doing keto, he basically says, what's the right way to do keto? You do the best you can. And in terms of what is sustainable for you in terms of habits and dietary choices and what you can do financially as well. And because if you can't sustain it, then it's no good. It ceases to have any value. So it's better to be 80% perfect at keto and to be able to sustain it long term than to be 100% good and after a couple of months you just can't do it anymore, either because it's too restrictive or you can't afford it or you're not living up to the standards of certain internet influencers.
the thing is, you just have to listen to how your body responds. If you feel good, that's all it counts. Ultimately, we're after well-being. We're not trying to be the model keto warrior or anything like that. So
Well, and
yeah.
some people, they're lost in this ocean of information, misinformation, and disinformation that exists on the internet. And they want to just be told, just tell me what I can eat, what I can't eat. Tell me how many grams of carbs I can have. Should I be doing net carbs? Should I be doing total carbs? What do I do? They just want an answer. And I think then when you have people out there, influencers, and they want to give you here's the one size fits all approach, it's going to be the strictest approach. So Dr. Eric Westman, as I said, love the guy to death. He's got I think he calls it his prescription strength keto, and that's going to be a lot more strict, but it's going to probably work for everybody. If, however, you want to take a little bit more ownership of your body and start trying to figure out what can I eat, what can't I eat, what affects my glucose, what affects my ketones, what affects my inflammation, that takes more work. But it's going to lead to a more customized and, in my opinion, sustainable dietary lifestyle.
Yeah, I think we simply need to be practical with our approach, and rather than trying to strive for perfection, because it isn't there. That's not how we can, that's how we do health. um, our body changes all the time, different season, different time of the year, different time of the month. We're different, so in a way we just need to be adaptable, and in order to be adaptable we have to equip ourselves with some knowledge. That there's just no, getting away from that. And when people reach out to people like you and me, asking for a number, ultimately they're looking for shortcuts, right?
Mm.
And I don't blame them. I probably do that myself. But in order to know what is right for you, you simply need to, some experiment needs to be there. And also knowing that nothing is absolute. If someone tells you a number and say, just do this, it will work, it's probably not correct. And probably not sustainable. So, and I keep trying to say that to my audience, but I think, people still want to look for that magic number.
I guess I want to phrase this the right way, because so many people treat keto or carnivore or whatever like a religion. I kind of do in a way, but my way is I don't care what your religion is. If you're happy with your religion, then good on you. But don't try and start a crusade to force your religion on me. So dietary, if you want to be carnivore, if you want to be vegan, if you want to be paleo, if you want to be South Beach, whatever, if it's happy, if you're happy, if it works for you, then awesome. I'll keep doing what works for me. You do what works for you, and we'll all just be happy. There's plenty of other things in the world to fight over. Let's not do it over this. If we're both happy and healthy.
On your channel, you do a lot of food reviews, etc.,
Mhm.
and which is kind of, I don't know, envious is the right word for me, because in the UK we have so few. Occasionally go to food, health food shops that you see the keto bar and you look at the macros, it's not that keto at all. So what is the state like in the States, and what do you think about those ready-made products versus
So one of the main reasons I do these reviews is um, I recognize that not everybody has the time or energy or aptitude to make all of their own food. It would be great if we all did. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I need something easy and convenient. The problem is so many of these products that are labeled keto or keto friendly, there's no regulation on it. And even some of the keto certification agencies out there, you read what you do. How do I get the keto certified label? Well, I send you $1,000 and then I can put the keto certified label on. That's it. I can tell you what the macros are, but I could lie about the macros. I could tell you what the ingredients are, but I could lie about the ingredients. Here's my money. Now I can put the sticker on my product, or maybe I don't put a sticker on it. I just say, hey, look at this. I've got keto bread. And I think a lot of people, and I fall into this trap as well. You go to the grocery store, you see keto, and you're like, oh, sweet. That looks really delicious. And oh, how convenient that would be. But it turns out not to be. It turns out that it's going to spike your glucose or maybe knock you out of ketosis or something. And so I test these things sort of as a public service. And sometimes I find things that they're great. They're like, oh, they taste great. It didn't move my glucose. Look, now I've got this. I say, in case of emergency, break glass. I've got it there in my pantry. If it's one of those things where I'm having a hunger attack, which doesn't happen often, or suddenly something comes up, I can't eat dinner tonight. I gotta go pick up my grandson or something like that. I can grab one of these bars and I'm good to go. I would say, in terms of like breads and tortillas that I've tested, probably 70% are not legit keto. And by that, again, I back to the Eric Westman thing. There's no such thing as a keto product, but I would say not compatible with a
right.
ketogenic lifestyle.
Yeah, but I think it's such a good type of content, because as you said, well, I can fall into that trap as well when I get busy. My tendency is to want to buy something that's ready made. I think everybody's like that. And you are actually testing, you have some sort of scientific reference to say, well, this could happen to your body and is not fully compatible. Rather than, because a lot of people go on keto and they go, it doesn't work. And it's
Yep.
because they're probably eating something that they think is keto, but not really.
One
So,
one of my first questions when people say, I've been doing keto and I'm not losing any weight. Like, so what brand of keto bread are you using? What brand of keto tortillas are you using? Like, how do you know? Like, because that's I tell most people, listen, keto bread and keto tortillas, you should probably steer clear of altogether until you have hit your health or weight loss goals. Once you are in a maintenance phase, then I think they can be an occasional treat. But again, use use my reviews as a guideline as in terms of which ones are going to be okay and which ones aren't.
So you also talked a little bit about exercise routine. So I didn't have a sort of opportunity to ask when you were talking about the walk that you do. So you say you kind of run a little bit and walk a little bit. Is that
So I run 3 days a week. And the reason I'm doing this is, and I know that there are people, there's the same tribalism with exercise that there is with eating. Um, I'm doing it because I want to improve my cardiovascular health. I'm not doing it to lose weight. I'm doing it because I want to be in good cardiovascular health. I want to be able to run around with my second grandchild the way that I run around with my first grandchild. So that's why I do it. And then the walking, there are people out there that will, 10,000 steps. That's just a made up number. Who cares? Well, I do it because I enjoy it. So I get out and I see the sunrise and I see some animals and I'll either do sort of a walking meditation, where I listen to sort of that spa type music, or I'll listen to an audiobook. And that's my morning routine.
and you do that every day?
Try to. I would say I'm probably 6 out of 7 days I pull it off.
Have you ever tried yoga?
A little
It's
bit. My
a trick
daughter Courtney
question.
is a yoga instructor,
All
and
right.
she's tried a little bit. I bought a mat. I got that far. We were trying. Okay, sun salutation, and we're doing downward dog, and all these things. And it's one of those where I felt like, okay, this makes me feel really weak and uncoordinated. So um, I talked about
So
my
it does
ego
make you feel
before.
balanced.
I know I could get better if I kept trying, but right now it's mostly strength training and some cardio.
And another question I would like to ask you
Okay.
is we touch upon the mental well being and relationship with food. So, do you have any sort of practical things that you do to unwind and relax? Because I think, to avoid kind of comfort eating type of mindset, if you know what I mean.
So I there are a few things that I do. Uh, I meditate. Just it's a mindful meditation. It's not like Buddhism or anything specific. It's more about being mindful, breathing, and being aware of your moment that you're in, so that then you can carry that mentality over into your day-to-day life and just be in the moment. I think that's something that we fail to do very often, and just it denies us a lot of pleasure in just looking around and seeing nature and seeing loved ones and things like that, and appreciating the comforts that we have in life. I think meditation has helped out with that. I do enjoy playing video games, like with my grandson or my son or by myself. And I've got a VR headset. I kind of enjoy that. Although most of what I do in VR tends to be like the travel-y stuff, where you're like, oh look, I'm up on the edge of the Grand Canyon looking down,
I don't
and
think I can
or
ever do that.
I'm at Machu Picchu or something like that. Where places that I would never probably be able to go in real life, that then I can visit in VR and look at. I enjoy that, and there are some meditative VR experiences as well that are kind of trippy that I enjoy. So that's sort of my system for winding down, and then just playing with my grandson. He keeps me
So,
young.
yeah, to probably keep you busy, and human connection is just so nourishing, isn't it? But so in terms of meditation, how long do you meditate for?
It's about 20 minutes a day. I use the Headspace app. So what I will do very often is I've got a shock T mat, which is like one of these spiky mats. I don't know if you're familiar with these things.
Is
Some
that
people
for your
will actually
feet?
practice. No, I lay on it. It's like lying on a bed of nails, sort of. Um, I did a video for it, a video review on the Lean Body Mind channel of mine,
Right.
but I'll take my shirt off and I'll lay on that, and it's sort of a an experience that you get used to. But I listen to Headspace for 20 minutes, and it's sort of a guided meditation.
Right, right. Yeah, I was interested. Well, I'm a yoga teacher, and I have to confess, I find meditation alone very hard to do. I kind of see yoga as a the moving meditation, so to speak. And this probably answer one of the questions that was sent earlier on. This B Dog asking, "Do you do hot yoga too?" And I do. And for my mind, I think I need some sort of distraction. So when you're doing something really hard, like hot yoga, you're in a hot environment, and your body's under a lot of stress, and so your mind has to focus. So I need to be forced to focus. And people think that if you're a yoga teacher, you probably meditate like 5 hours a day. And I actually find it extremely hard unless I'm physically doing something as well. So did you build up the minutes from the start
I
or
did, but also you talked about forgiving yourself and not being overly hard on yourself when you slip on keto, for example. It's the same thing with meditation. You recognize in meditation that you are not going to be able to stay completely focused and clear minded for probably more than a minute. But it's in the recognizing that your mind has drifted, and then be able to categorize it, say, okay, was that a feeling or was that a thought? Was it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? If it was a feeling, how would I define it? And basically it's like you take that moment, that distraction, and you put it in a file, and then you go back to focusing on your breath again and being just in the moment. And that's what I love about Headspace is he says, listen, you are going to be distracted. Your mind is going to drift. This is what happens. You're unless you're some, I don't know, master, and even the masters, it's like you're developing a skill which is recognizing that you're distracted. So don't be angry at yourself for being distracted. Feel good that you recognize that you were distracted and that you came back.
but isn't that just the way we need to approach the way of eating as well? If you ever go off, you kind of expect, as you say, so the planned cheat days, and or even accidental cheat days. It's knowing that you're gonna. Well, I don't want to use the term mess up. It's just natural sort of process that sometimes you wander off the course. But as long as you're mentally prepared for that, you just come back. There's no big deal, isn't it? So it's yeah, that was really a wonderful thing you just said.
So I hope you're enjoying this series. I suspect that there's probably going to be one more video. There's about an hour worth of material that I have left out of the full 3 hours, and I'm going to try and trim down one more highlight reel in about that 20-minute range. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.